Hi, class. I wanted to talk to you about something that's really important when you are working with children. Um, NAEYC is an organization that is an advocate for children. They are one of my favorite organizations, and I trust what they have to say because they base all of their information upon research, upon research, upon research. And I think it's just very helpful to go over this with you guys because I want you to understand the importance of what it is that we're actually doing with the children and how to help them. So, this is based, these are 10 strategies that are effective while teaching with children. So, it's developmentally appropriate practices and early childhood programs. So, number one of the first things that you want to do is you want to acknowledge what the children are saying or doing. Let them know that we um, have noticed by giving them some positive feedback. And, that can be through your comments, that can be just you being right next to them and, like really observing and watching them. And, you can say something like, thanks for the help, Kavi. Oh, wow, you showed another way to show the number five, right? You're going to acknowledge what they're doing. The second teaching strategy is to encourage. You want to encourage their persistence and their effort rather than just praising them, right, and evaluating them. I understand that, that's kind of the easiest way to go and most natural for some people, but what you really need to be saying to them is, you're thinking of lots of words to describe the dog in the story. Let's keep going, right? You want to keep encouraging the dialogue or the activity that they're doing. Now, this is important. You want to give them specific feedback rather than just general comments. You can say something like, oh, the bean bag didn't get all the way to the hoop, James, so you might try throwing it harder, right? Because, you want to help them develop, but give them something specific so that they're understanding, oh, I didn't throw that far enough. I need to throw it harder, and then maybe that will get it into the basket or the bucket or whatever. The fourth strategy is to model. And I take this very seriously in the classroom and while working with children. So you want to model your attitude. You you want to model how you're going to approach a problem and problem solve that. You want to model behavior towards others, including children and also adults in the classroom. How you interact with your adults in the room is just as important. So saying something like, that didn't work, and I need to think about why. Um, all the time, I like to do science activities with the children, and sometimes, in science, it's not perfect. You have to, it's trial and error. And so I'll say something like, oh man, Miss Christina, what was I thinking? That didn't work at all. I have to try something different. Let's see, what can I do? Help me figure out this problem, right? That way, they might not have an answer for me, but at least they're understanding how you're formulating, when you have a problem and how to work through it. And then, modeling like, oh, I'm sorry, Ben, I missed part of what you said. Please tell me again, right? Instead of, some other response that is less positive. The fifth teaching strategy is to demonstrate the correct way to do something. And this usually involves a procedure that needs to be done in a certain way. Um, like how to use like a wire whisk, like in a bowl when they're like mixing stuff, or perhaps writing like the first letter of their name. You really have to model that for them. And sometimes it's putting that pencil in their hand and wrapping your hand around their hand and going through the motions with them. Um, I also chose this picture because, musical instruments are a key, vital part of, um, you know, I think people in general, but especially in early childhood. Being able to make music is something that I love to encourage from a very young age. However, when you have these instruments, it's your responsibility as a teacher to teach the children how to use them properly. If you just put out the bucket of instruments and expect for them to know what to do with them, you'll find out very quickly that was not such a good idea. And then that way, once you demonstrate for them how to use it, they'll know, and then they can work on those skills in order to play that particular instrument. So the sixth way is really important. You want to create or add challenges so that the task goes beyond what the child can do. You need to be ready to expand or simplify an activity. Okay, so for example, you lay out a collection of chips and you count them together, and then you ask a small group of children to tell you how many are left after they see you removing some of the chips. The children count the remaining chips to come up with the answer, and then to add the challenge, you could hide the chips after you remove some, and the children will have to use a strategy other than counting the remaining chips to come up with an answer, right? That's how you can expand something. To simplify or reduce the challenge, you could simply simplify the task by guiding the children to touch each chip once as they count the remaining chips. So that's the one-to-one correspondence, right? So it's important for you to think about when you're planning activities, how to challenge and how to simplify. Asking questions is number 7, and this is because you want to provoke a child's thinking, right? You want to be able to provide them with some idea constantly that they should be internally thinking about things, right? So saying something like, if you couldn't talk to your friend, how else could you let them know what to do, right? That's really deep, right? They have to think about that. And sometimes they might not have the answer, but at least providing those, internal question thoughts in their brain is going to get them thinking about that. And then they'll be able to come up with their own ideas of questions. Number 8 is you want to give assistance, like a cue or a hint to help children work on the edge of their current competence. Can you think of a word that rhymes with mat? How about bat, right? Mat, bat. What else rhymes with mat or bat? Okay, giving them a little assistance is exactly what we're supposed to be doing. You want to pause and give them that moment for them to thoughtfully respond to you, right? And adults are like that too. Sometimes you ask someone a question and sometimes they have to internalize and they have to think about it a little bit before they provide an answer. And, it's just the same with children as well. Number 9 is you want to provide information. It's directly giving children facts, giving verbal labels, and providing other pertinent information, such as, there's the little creature called a vole. I don't know if you know what a vole is, but a vole looks very much like a mouse, except um, a vole has a shorter tail than a mouse. So giving them that specific information. Um, when we do, when we talk about, let's say, insects, for instance, you want to give them the names of, some of the butterflies and some of the facts about them, right? You want to provide them with information and with labels and, arm them with information that is pertinent to whatever it is that they're discovering or you're introducing to them, so that they can gain more awareness. The last thing is you want to give directions for children's actions and behavior. Okay, so you'll say, touch each block once as you count them. Or you'll say, okay, you want to touch that icon and drag it over to where you want. So giving them specific instructions for what they're supposed to be doing, right? An action or a behavior, whatever they're doing, or saying, is really important. So anyways, I just wanted to share this information with you guys. I think these are some real simple ideas for you to get an understanding of working with children and the best ways for you to be able to communicate and model and work with them. Okay.